Welcome to the Weaver Podcast, your guide to crafting relationships that thrive. Through insightful dialogues and transformative wisdom, we'll unravel the complexities of communication and connection. Let's weave a world where every relationship is built upon mutual respect, deep understanding, and harmony. I'm your host, SONJA WOOD. I'm a soul-driven mediator and a visionary leader. I am devoted to elevate consciousness and cultivate thriving relationships. My deepest calling is to help all my clients create true, authentic, and extraordinary relationships where they are not only heard and understood, but also deeply respected. Good morning and welcome to this new episode of the Weavers Podcast, and I'm your host, SONJA WOOD. Today, I really want to talk about the fact of frustration in a relationship, most likely frustration toward your partner in a romantic relationship, and how often it leads to upset feelings toward your partner. And we're going to explore how the frustration can be redirected into productive action rather than a blame toward your partner. But relationships are really filled with challenges, right? And by understanding the root cause of the frustration, we can really turn it into an opportunity for growth and connection. So let me tell you a brief story. My husband loves eating ice cream late in the evening before bedtime. And, when I was still an engineer in Germany, I had taken classes for fitness training and workouts. And with it went all the nutrition classes. And I also had micronutrition classes and all those healthy habits about nutrition. So for me, healthy habits, including food and nutrition, are very important. So you can imagine when I see my husband buying one or 2 pounds of ice cream, usually it's like caramel ice cream, or he likes peppermint and chocolate, I get nuts. I was like, it's not good to do that. You know that. Or when he is having the habits of drinking soda, yeah, but it's sugar-free. That just drives me nuts. So this is a typical example of frustration. He's doing something, I disagree, and then I get frustrated because I wish he would understand. I wish he would see that it's not healthy to do that, right? So there is a very important concept around the sources of frustration. The impatience and perfectionism are one. It really impatience and perfectionism really fuels frustration, especially when things don't go as planned. And when we really want to take control of every detail, we don't want to lose we're losing that control triggers emotional reaction. So it's really how you consider that your need for control shows up and how it's impacting your relationship and how it relates to your values and to your expectation, right? So there is impatience, perfectionism, and that's very intimately linked to boundaries and values. So it's highly important to always recognize when frustration pops up, there is misaligned values or crossed boundaries. As I was telling you about the ice cream or the soda drinks, for me, I value health and I value healthy nutrition and healthy habits. So I want everybody in my household to value it as much as I do, but it's not what happens. It's not realistic either. So it's recognizing that what I value is important to me. But it's also important to recognize we're all in different individuals. We all have different values and different degree of values. But it's accepting that another person is not where we are at. So the ice cream example, partner's late night habit is is one typical example, valuing health, but my partner has different, obviously, choices, right? So how you handle that difference in values. You can either let go of it, or you can accept it's their choice, or you can try to control, change the other person, change the situation by lecturing them. And that leads more to a parent-child dynamic that is referring to transactional analysis. I'm going to develop a little better after, but as soon as you leave that equal adult to adult, you're putting a soil for conflict. So it's your choice to see when you get frustrated toward your partner, where you stand. Where are you? Are you trying to take a position of lecturing your partner, or are you in the more accepting attitude? Right? So, this being said, now I think it's important to see how we can take that frustration and transcend it into a positive action, into something constructive. Because what happens, and what I observe a lot, and even in mediation, people being frustrated often get upset and get angry and blame the other. So the action resulting from their frustration is blaming, pointing the finger on what the other person said, did not do, did not say, the thing that is disturbing. So what we want here is to redirect the frustration to a positive, constructive action. So first, we can use physical movement. Believe me or not, for this Christmas 2024, I'm asking for this vibrating plateau that you can just stand on and get your body shaked. I really want to try. I think it's going to be very efficient on me. So using physical movement is a way to redirect your frustration. You can really, shake your body. There is was I tried, but I never really did it really a long time. But there was shaking meditations where you actually basically shake your body. Actually, a perfect example to illustrate that is the dog behavior. If you've observed dog before, if you maybe have one, observe how dogs, when they feel uncomfortable or frustrated or stressed, they're going to shake. They're shaking their body. It's not necessarily to clean up themselves. It's just to let it, let the thing out. And basically, it's what it does. It just, shake things out. And whenever you feel uncomfortable, frustrated, if something is kind of, you have a contraction inside, just shake your body, like really, even if it doesn't look like something coherent or something logical, just shake your arms, your feet, your hands, your shoulders, shake it out. That's really moving the body to shake off frustration, whether it's going to be, body shakes or walking, dancing, exercising. That really can help the emotions to process the emotions more efficiently without withdrawing. Because withdrawing is, when I refer to withdrawing, is emotional withdrawal. Another answer to frustration, you can, some people get upset, but others actually emotionally withdraw from the situation or from the person. Another word to say, they shut down. And that can be a response to frustration, but the challenge in this situation is that they need to recirculate the energy instead of bottling it up. Because when you emotionally withdraw, when you shut down, you closing everything. And what you want in case of frustration is to let it out, not to keep it, to keep in. So using physical movement, very good tip. Another way turning to turn frustration into positive action. So you can also, instead of lashing out, like unpredictable implosion or withdrawing emotionally, you can also identify a small actionable task that channels frustration into productivity. For example, to take back the example of my partner's habit of eating ice cream or getting soda drinks, I choose as an action, instead of being frustrated that he's eating that, he's drinking things that I don't appreciate. I choose to, when I do groceries, to not buy any of it. That I make it harder for him. So now, if he really wants the ice cream, he takes his car, he goes to the store, drive 30, 40 minutes to the store and get ice cream. But I'm not going to buy it for him because I don't want to encourage that. So it's a way to being productive in a way. But another way, for example, could be instead of lecturing, your partner about eating the ice cream or any habits or any behavior, you can redirect your energy toward planning a healthier meal for the week or making positive change in your own routine. This last point is actually very important in a way that in my program Self-Mastery, I'm always saying to my clients, you can do only 50% of the way, in a relationship, but you need to be aware that what your 50% that you're going to do are going to influence the other 50% that the other person has to do. So in a way, if I myself keep having healthy habits, keep exercising regularly, keeps not buying cookies and eating proper meals, and is going to influence my partner to join and to follow that. Now, if he still buys ice cream, he drives and he buys himself. But on my side, I'm going to put the ground to really have healthy meals and healthy habits. So that's something you can also look at, turning your frustration into a positive change to really either, plan something different, change your own routine, review your habits to hope influencing his or her own habits. Okay, so last time, earlier, I was talking briefly about transactional analysis. I love this concept because if you are aware, if you get very aware of this dynamic all the time, I can assure you, you're gonna have an easier life with any relationship. When you are in conflict, and I see it in mediation, when you are in conflict, the dynamic changes. You're not having adult-to-adult conversation. In any conflict, you're going to see the dynamic of a childish attitude and parenting attitude. So the transactional analysis is stating this following. Between two adults, you can have 3 levels of discussion. Adult to adult, you can have the position of the parent, or you can have the position of the child. The transactional analysis states that the only dynamic that is favorable to peaceful relationship between two adults is when both are positioned in adult state, so adult to adult conversation. As soon as one is either going into a parenting attitude or one is going to the childish attitude, it puts the ground for conflict. So when you start to lecture your partner, when you start to say, you should do this, it's not correct to do that, it's not right to do this, then you're adopting a parenting role with your partner because you're like lecturing your partner, you're controlling, you're telling your partner what is right to do, what is wrong to do, as you do with a child when you educate a child. And that can escalate conflict. So lecturing about the ice cream to keep that example of the ice cream, you're gonna remember that damn ice cream, right? So lecturing about the ice cream, that puts you in a parent role, and that can make your partner feel judged or treated like a child, and then you get the defensive reaction. and then you get resentment, and then you get conflict. So what you want to do is choosing for yourself, okay, I see that behavior, I don't like it, I don't approve it. We all judge, we all have opinions on things. So, you recognize it. Now you have the choice. You're going to choose what position you want to have. Do you want to react to the situation with an adult point of view? Or are you going to step into the parenting role and try to lecture and make your partner change his behavior? So that's your choice to do. Personally, I'm always saying to my husband, I'm not the mother. I'm not the mother. You're not my kid. So you're already grown up. You do you, I do me. Now I don't have to approve it though. So it's a very different attitude to adopt. And staying as equal adults is really something I encourage. It's important to approach situations from equal adults, and I emphasize on equal, to really be both on a horizontal perspective, both equal, and having both an equal adult perspective. So instead of controlling, instead of lecturing, we offer understanding and encourage mutual respect, right? So, and actually, if you're subscribed to my newsletter, I have a couple videos about that where you can understand why couple gets stuck in arguments. So why do they struggle to get out of arguments? When you have repetitive arguments about things and always, for 2 months later, 3 months later, you're still arguing about that, and you thought it was solved and not. So if you're not subscribed to my newsletter, I really encourage you to do so, because I have a really nice video about that can help you further. So now we talked about the transactional analysis. It's all about shifting the perspective. It's all about going with the flow. So first, we let go of control. Yes, it's hard, I know. And we really need to surrender the need for control, to accept the uncomfortable state and the continuous learning to go with the flow. When things don't go as planned, we rather than just letting the frustration build over time, we need to remind ourselves that we don't control everything, even less other people. And that's okay. That's okay also to disagree with what our partners do. It's okay to disagree and to not accept certain habits that our partner has. So the self-reflection is going to be important, to ask ourselves if the frustration we feel comes from an expectation of control and comes from perfectionism. So I invite you really to explore the areas where you can really let go and allow just life to unfold and just to be. Now, before we end, I really want to take a couple minutes to realign the way we see frustration, to realign our response to frustration. As I said at the beginning, many people respond to frustration by getting upset or emotionally withdrawing. So frustration is really an indicator, and a precious indicator. It offers a signal to check in with ourselves, whether it's our boundaries or expectation or our values. Are they aligned? Are the boundaries respected? Am I expecting too much? Are my expectations realistic, right? What position do I take toward my partner? Always remembering this parenting childish adult to adult concept from the transactional analysis, right? So what you can explore is really setting healthier boundaries. So setting boundaries is something I work a lot in my signature program, Self-Mastery, because I experience, and I see even now all the time in every single mediation that the conflict resulted into a lack of boundaries, and misaligned values. So we need to really set healthy boundaries and manage expectations, so that the frustration doesn't lead to a conflict. We can be frustrated. It's a natural emotion. It's okay to feel frustrated. Now, what we do about it, it's the question. And again, for all the subscribers to my newsletter, there is a lot of resources for that, where in my philosophy, I'm not talking about negative emotions or positive emotions. You have a range, a rainbow of emotions with different degrees for each emotion. Now, the importance is to recognize the emotion and ask yourself, what do I do about it? What can I do with this emotion to create something more constructive, right? So discussing expectation around the routines with your partner or the habits, in a very non-judgmental adult-to-adult conversation is going to be important, right? So to conclude on that episode, there's a lot of information. Re-listen it again if you need to, take notes if you need to. But to summarize some key points, frustration can be transformed into action, but that requires a good awareness, a good self-awareness. Also, emotional withdrawal can be counteracted with physical movements and conscious energy shift. So body shaking, hiking, running, crossfitting, all those things. Then we can also stay mindful of the power dynamic in a relationship by avoiding parent-child roles. And lastly, we can also check our boundaries, our values, and practicing the let go of control, right? So I really invite you to reflect on where frustration shows up in your relationship. And I encourage you to try one of the strategies that I just discussed in the episode to see how can you, with your own situation, with your own ability, implement that into your relationship. Okay, I think that's it for me. So thank you for listening. And again, if you have any question, don't hesitate. I'll be very happy to answer. If you appreciated the podcast, please share it, rate 5-star on the platform of your preference. And I will see you next time for next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.